How you going, people? Somebody was complaining that I only use black, so I've got a red sun, I've got some green grass and a green tree, and blue water and a fishy. So now I've got all my colors for the people that come here that complain that I'm only using black on the board. Alright, so Bundy Ranch, let's talk about tactics here. I don't know how this refuge is laid out, so I'm going to kind of just draw this out as a square. So let's say this is the refuge area. Okay, maybe there's a couple roads leading in and out. I'm not there, but this is just basic tactics. If the federal government is making a plan on this, they're going to get the entrance and exits out of this place. So how do we lock these down? Okay, we're going to have a team here. We're going to have a vehicle, so they can't get out here. We'll have a couple vehicles here, so they can't get out here. You know, there's a fence line here. If they run out here, we need to have a couple people along the perimeter here. Maybe an observation, maybe flying a drone over to gather intel, to give them immediate feedback. I mean, they've got drones now that you can either watch on your arm or, you know, with a video camera. They're going to have some sort of command post set up on the outside here with a lot of people staged. So these people are going to be a response force for anything that comes out. So if something, you know what, they try to leave here and they take it out, we're taking gunfire. So they may dispatch 4 or 5 people here to this area to assist. So there's going to be several response forces to any conflict that hits out there. So first thing we're going to do is lock down all the exits. We're going to lock down and again set up that inner perimeter I talk about. This inner perimeter is going to stop anybody from leaving the compound. So the people that are in there are there. So we have them locked down. Once you get your suspects locked down in an inner perimeter, now we got to either negotiate or make it to where they want to negotiate or make it to where they want to give up. So they're going to cut power lines. That's my little light pole, in case you can't see that. They're going to cut power, they're going to cut the water, and again, they've already coordinated this. They've got people standing by. We've got somebody assigned to who's going to cut off the water, who's not going to cut off, or who's going to cut electricity. Can we turn it on if we want to negotiate? I mean, supposedly there was kids in here. The kids have been evacuated, so the kids are gone. I don't know how many people are inside. I guarantee you, for every person inside, there's at least 3 to 4 feds on the outside. And that's not counting supervisors and everybody in the little van and the command post or wherever they set it up at the school or whatever. You're going to have all kind of people there that are supervisors making decisions, etc. But the actual workers and responders, there's going to be a minimum of 3 to 1, if not 4 to 1. Which is why I said, if you're going to have a massive thing and you're going to try to go against, you have to get enough people that the government isn't going to be able to outnumber you very easily. And they can outnumber these guys hell, they've had 3 weeks. I mean, the people inside the ranch are thinking, wow, this is really great. They haven't come in. That's good. We're going to relax. We're going to start doing this. We can cut fences. We can videotape us tearing down cameras. We can do all this. And they're thinking it's great. Well, all this time is giving the feds time to plan their assault, to plan what your routine is, to know where you're at, to know if you've got any guards posted. Do you have roving patrols around here to pick up when you see the feds moving in? Do you have any type of early warning? I mean, if this was my operation on the inside, I would have had a response force of guys waiting, so if the feds did come, then you would have a response force to counter that threat. And again, this could be reversed either way. Let's say the feds are in here and you've got people surrounding the feds. I mean, again, this is basic tactics for any situation when you're fighting either the government, another enemy, whatever. You have to have some outside to come in and flank your enemy if they get the upper hand. You have to have some sort of, you know, in the military we've got air support, we've got you know, long-range missiles, bombs, smart missiles. We've got all kind of support that we can call in to get people if they start gaining ground. So these guys are sitting in here with none of that. So they've locked themselves. It's like running to the top of the hill when you have thousands of people at the bottom surrounding you and saying, you know what? As long as you've got high ground, you can live. Well, that's not true. I mean, there's several cases where several armies have just locked people down and they were like, oh, we got water, we got a stream. There was one, I can't remember what country it was or when they took over this area, but these groups moved in, took over this pyramid, this house on top of a mountain. They had running water, and they took it over from a very powerful army. And it took a while, I don't know how long, a month or 2, 3 months, maybe 6 months, but they couldn't get to the top of the hill in this battle because these guys were at the top here and there was running water and there was only one way in and it was very steep. And you know what the superior army did, who had time, money, or not money, time, resources, and people? They brought in dump loads and had people bring in buckets of dirt, and they built a freaking mound because there was no way to get up here, and then the army just marched in on this mound. It took them months, and everybody killed themselves, I think, before they got up there. I can't remember the battle, maybe somebody recognized it. But these people took it over and said, hey, you're the strongest army, etc. A couple guys got together and go, hey, you know what? If we can just take this over, man, we'll show them and we can survive forever. We got food, we got water. There's no way up. They can't get up. And you know what? We'll fix you. You give us time, we'll just bring in buckets of sand and water and make a freaking ramp and walk in and mow you over. So when you're doing tactics, and you're giving people time, if you don't have a time limit, if you don't control the enemy or the other person's timeline, you have to take control of things and take control away from the other person. And you do that by cutting off their water. You're taking away their control of their water, their food, etc. Hi, Monkey! Did you come in and say hello to the YouTube people? What are you doing? You're going to be rubbing on that and you're going to get in big trouble. You say hi to YouTube people. Hi, YouTube. Smokey, my tactical kitty. I don't know where he came from. You're a crazy cat. So, tactics. The feds are going to lock in the inner perimeter and they're going to prevent anybody from coming in or leaving. That's the first step. So as soon as the feds do that, these guys are going to be on a timeline. They're worried about water, staying warm, staying awake, staying alert, no reinforcements, no food, no nothing. Now I saw last night somewhere they said, this is a call out to all Patriots, come. If 200 or 300 people end up showing up to this spot, that'll change things. You get a mass of people, of 200 people, showing up saying we're going in. Now you have split your enemy's forces because now the feds were all concentrating on this. They have one threat, they have it locked down and they can't do anything. Now all of a sudden there's 200 people coming. Guess what? You divide their forces. You make them change their plan, which is exactly what the feds are doing to these guys. They're making them change their plan. Your plan was to sit in here, you think you got water, you think you got electricity, you think you can come and go. Guess what? First we're going to snag your leader. As soon as we snag your leader, we're going to give people a chance to leave. Some of you people are going to leave. Now we're cutting down your forces. And now the people that are staying we know is hardcore. So now we're going to come in and lock you down to where now you don't have the option to leave. Because the feds are controlling this, the people on the inside are having no control. They're not controlling anything. The only thing they're controlling is giving the feds an opportunity to do training, to get weapons, to try out their new toys, to get overtime. People out here thinking, oh, well, they need to remember their oath and they need to know. Look, this is not big enough to take over a refuge for people to say, you know what, I'm not doing this. And be honest, these guys are kind of fighting this with a moral code. The guys at the Bundy Ranch are trying to take the high ground. Okay? It reminds me of the British when they had their war and they lined up in a freaking line and walked into bullets and people fighting and firing on them, and they just walked in a freaking line and got killed and dropped. Because they were fighting with honor. Okay? If you're going to start a war and you're in a war, you fight to win. This honor stuff about, well, we're Patriots and we want to take the high road. You know what? You will take the high road. You're going to take the high road to the federal pen, to a warrant, to your life's over, or you're going to get shot. And that's your high road? I mean, how does that change? I mean, I'm not cracking on you guys. I'm not trying to say that your efforts aren't good and aren't well intended, but hell, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. This isn't a smart plan to make the government change in any way, shape, or form. They accomplish nothing in my book. If anything, they kind of hurt the Patriot movement. They've got a lot of people that support them, probably including me, that are on now even more watch lists than we were already on if we were on a watch list. Because this is what happens when you have what I call a poor plan, no execution, no end game, no outcome. What is your primary goal? Is your goal just to sit in here until the feds come in and get you? And so what they're doing, they're playing honorably. And when I say honorably, you know what they did? They let the kids leave. Guess what? If the kids were in there, they probably had more power. Oh, Rick, how can you say use? I'm not saying that you should be a coward and use kids. I'm saying that if ISIS was in here with women and children, it would change how the feds handle it. If you want to do it with honor and make it easy for your enemy to take you, then do it. But it's not smart, it's not tactically smart, and you ought to realize that besides that you're going to lose, you need to realize that you're not going to accomplish anything. You're making it would be like, I mean, look, in Vietnam they had kids bringing bombs. ISIS, they got kids, I mean in Israel they were having kids blowing up things, women dressing with bombs. I'm not saying that's good, but it's an effective tactic. It works. It keeps your enemy. If you have an enemy that you're seriously wanting to fight and change, that is a great tactic. Okay? The Civil War or any war that we've been, when you have people that are unpredictable, they're not set by rules and standards and morals, they're a much more difficult enemy. Kind of like the government. They really ain't got no morals or standards. The government's role is to win. Okay? Ruby Ridge, Waco, they didn't give a shit if there was women and children. They burnt down and killed them all. And then claimed it was them. Waco, just where they shot up all those bikers and it turned out the cops are the ones that killed them. They didn't care. The government doesn't care. They care about winning. So when you're fighting an enemy that cares about winning and you want to go out there like the stinking redcoats and stand in line and march and just get shot down and go, wow, I'm doing something really good, knock yourself out. That's not me. Okay? And that's not a smart tactic. And no country or no battle that's ever been fought is won by doing that. You don't win battles by being moral and nice and concerned, and you just don't do it. I mean, the U.S. dropped a freaking 2 nuclear bombs on women and children and burned and fried hundreds of thousands, million people. I mean, and people, they started it. Well, no shit, they started it. And should we have dropped it? Well, I don't know. I mean, stop the war, it probably saved a lot of guys, and they did start it, and I got a little problem with killing a bunch. I would have rather dropped right on the headquarters and killed the president or the guy who was causing the crime. See, government's always about protecting government. Even other governments protect government. That's why there's all kind of rules about governments won't take out heads of state and we won't go after government. We'll fight wars fair and we'll make these rules in the Geneva Commission so the stupid young idiot males that we send out there to die, we'll play with their lives. But you know what? The guys in charge, us people at the top, you know, we're not targets, we're not combatants, so you shouldn't be killing us. But we'll drop a nuclear bomb on your city and kill women and children. You know, Japanese were dive bombing their planes into any building or anything to blow it up and kill people because they were creating havoc. You have to make your enemy suffer worse than you. or otherwise there's no reason to give up. If you're suffering worse than me, guess what? I'm waiting you out because you're going to give up first. So the feds in this situation are going to make these guys suffer more than them. Are the feds suffering? Hell no. Like I said, they're getting paid. Back at headquarters, there's free food. They're bringing in, warm stuff. They're getting new gear. They're getting all kind of money they can spend to buy new toys because we have a threat. I mean, to me, it's just simple tactics, and anybody that's planning an operation that doesn't know simple basic tactics on how the government is going to think and move, and it's not just the government, it's any tactical situation. You're going to plan to make the enemy pay. You want to take away their freedom of movement. You want to take away their leadership. You want to take away their ability to plan or to go along with their plan. You want to change their plan. You want to keep them on uneven ground so you're in control of the conflict. And that's what the government has done perfectly here. I mean, this is so predictable. Like I said, a month ago I could have told you, look man, they're just going to pick one of you guys off and they're going to take the leader, and the next guy that steps in, if he goes off the compound, they're going to pick him off, or they're going to surround the place and they're going to start wearing you down. And they're going to start probing you. They're going to start talking to you in loudspeaker so you can't sleep. And they'll be turning on the electricity and turning off the electricity and turning off the water. It's just... tactics is kind of... maybe it's simple to me because I've just kind of lived it my whole life. But it's pretty basic. I mean, either you want to win and you're willing to do what it takes. And I know that there's a lot of people, well, you guys are willing to die and you're not out there. It's easy to sit on a video and you're not out there. I'm not out there because it's like, look, there's no end game. There's no winning. There's no point. I mean, if all those guys out there would have just went on their own and took out, done something that affected the federal government, take out their building, take out their ability to operate, take out the computer system. I think that I just read there's a big hack on the grid in Israel or something. If all these people would have went out and did something individually and made the government suffer, then you would make a point, you would interrupt their behavior, you would interrupt their ability. I mean, in a civil war, when martial law's thing, the big claim is we have to keep the courts intact. We have to maintain law and order. And that's how they justify. Well, if you're fighting a conflict, you need to ensure that you're controlling the conflict with your enemy. And again, I might do a little series on revolutions and how they start, how they end up. If anybody needs to refer to my notes, let me make it clear here. Don't forget the little fishy, the blue fish, the green tree, and the red sun. All right, we'll end that there.